So I don't know if you're all familiar with the movie Call Me by Your Name. It's like a young kind of like it's like a romance movie like set in Italy, and it's like my favorite movie. And but yeah, so I took some quotes from the movie and did some paintings digitally. And the quote in this one says, "People who are hiders, they hide who they are. People who hide don't always like who they are." And that's kind of about them, like being like men who like men, and like the age difference, like some would look down on that, but I don't. Way older than him and kind of preying on him, has no right to be with a man that like a boy that young. But I think it's kind of just like we shouldn't be like hide who we are, and that's why I included the quote, because I like to read.
Okay, okay. Well, let's go back to the art.
Yeah,
What?
this one seems very like you were confused.
I'm
Like, especially in comparison to the first piece.
Oh my god, hi Wade.
Like the text, the
Uh-huh.
whole composition, and I don't know, you just seem very like unsure of yourself.
But
Yeah.
I think welcome Wade, by the way. I'm presenting my paintings. So yeah, I think I was kind of unsure with this one, like because like this one, like my whole kind of idea behind it, which I did get explained because I got interrupted a few times, is like it's kind of like how time is like very kind of lethal, like in a way, just like with this kind of like relationship, the age gap. And I was kind of like confused to like as to how I should like show that, because like how do you show time? Time isn't something visual or physical. So like I kind of wanted it to make it a little like hard, a little challenging, because like that's how like relationships are, if that makes sense. But yeah, basically like the background is kind of like I wanted it to be kind of like time is warping, like when like they're together, it's like time kind of like freezes, but it's not always like a healthy kind of thing, like because they're on different timelines.
So if the time is frozen, why does it look like it's moving? Shouldn't it be a still image then?
There's almost too much movement happening.
Yeah.
Again, I think you're just confused about everything.
Yeah.
I think you're
a little misguided.
I think you're confused. Like since like you aren't like a gay man, like it might be hard for you to relate to this, but I'm sure like like any gay man could see this and like immediately get it.
Well, I'm a half gay woman, and so I feel like I understand where you're coming from, and yet I still don't understand.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
It's
I just think maybe it is like a generational kind of thing. Like I am 16, so like I think I see things differently.
I'm interested in hair as a symbol of masculinity, and how the figure on the left has what seems to be, or what I would say would be, some amount of hair on his chest. Yet the figure on the right seems very hairless. And it makes me think about kind of biblical ascriptions of power to hair. And how maybe someone who doesn't have as much hair on their body, like visibly presenting, may not have the same amount of power.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I don't think that these two people in this movie read the Bible, so I don't think that they would necessarily think that way. But like when I look at it, like I do think that the hair does symbolize power, because it is like the he is older, you know, like he can, you know, buy alcohol and he can, you know, rent a car. And that's just something, you know, you can't do when you're a 17-year-old twink. And I think that is kind of what defines this relationship. And it's, you know, it's what makes it beautiful, but it's what also, you know, like curses it, just like a lot of stuff in the Bible, you know. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You know, when you're presenting stuff in critique, you should be confident. Like, you shouldn't like over apologize, and it kind of makes the art you're presenting fall a little bit flatter and a little bit less strong. So just be more aware of like how you're speaking and how you're, you know, presenting stuff.
Yeah, and off that, like, I think your art has the work that you've shown so far also has that lack of confidence, you know.
Oh. First of all, how dare you? I have anxiety, so doing things like this is really hard for me. That's why I make art.
You should not be here. Maybe you should be at home working on that.
I am in my home. This is my form of expression. You know, what I say may not make sense to you. You may not see it. But, you know, I do it because I love it. Just like this main character loves this other main character. 2020, Trump will be reelected, and, you know, we're still here. We're still having this conversation. So obviously it is relevant.
I don't know. I have a lot of faith in Biden, so I don't know why you would just assume Trump would be our new president again. Don't you have faith in Biden? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make this political, but if you are, you know, a proud gay man, you really should be supporting Biden.
I support Pete Buttigieg. Now that he's not, you know, in the running anymore, I think that my vote might as well be thrown away, honestly.
Well, actually, I don't think it's a painting. Like, it really does look like a photoshopped image.
I painted it.
You just said you were using Photoshop.
I used the paintbrush in Photoshop.
Is that painting though? Oh my God.
We're in the expanded field of painting right now, you guys. So
should we just like move on to someone else?
I guess. Like,
Wait, okay, thank you, Ben.
All right, so this is my piece. It is pretty abstracted, so I just want to hear, I don't want to give any, you know, further information, and I just really want to hear what you guys have to say before I shed light on anything.
This kind of looks like a minion. Do you know the movie Minions?
I've never seen it.
Oh. Yeah, I thought you were making a reference to that, and I thought, you know, that would go well with like kind of like displaying it in the children's park. But now that it's not a minion,
I don't know what a minion is.
Here, I'll find a picture.
So, like, what medium are you using?
Photography, mostly, but I do consider it, you know, my emotion a medium as well. So I feel like it was like 70% photography, 30% emotion.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know, now that you know that it does resemble a minion, I think that you should, you know, take that into consideration and maybe like consider redoing this piece. I think it's kind of just all about like the coloring. I think maybe if you found a different surface.
I also personally haven't been able to like escape the cultural like cloud of what Minions has done. I think like it had a lot of sponsoring at a time and it was just like very much everywhere and you could buy many things with it. So I think the penny is also connected to that on many levels. So I think that like this piece is about Minions and like maybe that wasn't your intention, but
It
on
was.
a wider scale, like this is a Minions piece.
We all agree that this, is a minion. So it's kind of like, we kind of like.
Well, I still don't know what a minion is, and that wasn't my intention. So I feel like that's not what the piece is about.
Everyone who thinks it's a minion, do a thumbs up.
Oh, I don't know how to do the emoji.
You go to. Oh.
Hey,
You
Segolene.
go to like, yeah. It's like at the bottom of
Hey,
your bar.
Segolene.
Yes. What is it?
Oh, I see.
I think, yeah, like it is a minion. Like I think like we can all like, agree on that.
And like that's fine. Like it being a minion, like it's not a bad thing. You can totally use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
Like I think like when you're making art and you're presenting to people, like it's really like it's no longer yours. Like it belongs to the viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like just there's so many images that are circulating right now. Just like we can pick up our phone and look at an image, and so I don't see why this like should capture my attention. Like I don't see why this is important,
Okay. I'm really glad you guys all put in your input, even though all of it was wrong and didn't try to see my emotional intent at all. So I'm just gonna end my critique turn and just delete this piece after move on to the next person. Thank you everyone.
I think that's a good idea.
Thanks.
If we can't have it, nobody can. So this piece kind of like about like I'm kind of doing a whole identity series here.
Sorry.
You're like really close to being kicked. Like I'm trying to like open up about myself here, like something that I don't talk about, and that seemed very intentional.
I'm not doing anything.
I think it was probably an honest mistake.
Yeah.
Well, like I can't see your face, so I can't tell if you're a person of color or not. But this piece is kind of about racial identity. So I don't, I think you should be careful to show your face because we're dealing with hard stuff here.
Your problems are none of my business. I will have you know that I am brown. Okay.
Okay.
I don't need you coming after me.
I don't need you playing fucking Arthur theme song in the middle of my critique.
It was an accident. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like you're just sitting there watching Arthur.
It's a good show.
I'm not saying it's not. Just not right now. Okay. So, anyways, this is my piece. It's kind of like about like my identity. I created this image. It's kind of like my split identity. Like, there's like like the me like that looks like me, and then there's the me that like I wish I looked like, and so it's kind of like that that split between myself.
Is that Scholastic Gold Key photoshopped on your jacket?
Although it is on my white side, kind of, so it is kind of a symbol of like the white victory in this kind of situation. But
it seems like you're trying to make harmful stereotypes about white people in this piece.
How am I doing that?
I mean, it's like you're saying like all white people have blue eyes. I don't have blue eyes, but I'm still very white.
Not all white people have the Scholastic Gold Key either, so think on that.
Okay, point taken.
Don't you think this split right down the middle is lazy?
How is it lazy? I spent like 7 hours on this.
Did you, though?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I did. I think that's kind of the whole point, It's like, you don't know what's going on in my head. Like, I may come across as, simple and like, simple-minded and a simpleton and everything. But like in reality, like there's a lot going on in my head. And I think, growing up, with like, like a Pacific Islander dad and like a white mom, it's kind of like, I don't know what to think. Like, it's kind of like, animals like baby cats like raised by like gorillas, like do they really know that they're a cat, and so I think it's kind of like, what am I, like I look like this, but like what really am I? And like I don't think there's any right answer to that.
I mean, personally, I wasn't connecting as much to the other work you showed, but I think this one really does have some type of like, it really encapsulates like ugliness in a big way, which you mentioned earlier. And I think there's something really strong about that.
Thank you.
Like, I think that like not enough people talk about being ugly.
Yeah,
There should be more, like this is pretty big for like ugly representation.
And like, like I'm glad that, like you realize that, and like I'm pretty sure everyone else does, notice that too in this call, because like, you're all kind of ugly.
That's not the experience I have day to day, but
I think this is also really strong in like the context of your other work, because like maybe it's easy for people to be like, oh, I love these like beautiful white men, and then they're sympathetic for them because they're gay, and then they can look at this one and say, I'm sympathetic for this because it's ugly.
Yeah, like I think,
it's all about like creating like that type of sympathy, and then that's understanding.
Yeah, exactly. Like
why do you think that valid criticism is a personal attack on you as a person and not just your artistic making? Why do you take it so personally?
Well, I saw the DM that you sent me calling me a faggot, and I really don't appreciate that. I think
I did not use any slurs towards you. I think you're lying right now.
Like just because you don't spend a lot of time like, actually making the piece, which I did. I spent like 7 hours on it. I think I spent like hundreds of hours, thinking about it, and that effort shows, So I don't think it's always like, the time you spend in the studio or the time that you spend, in Photoshop. I think it's kind of like the, mental dedication that it really takes to make a piece like this.
Is it titled White, not JPEG?
Like I said, that's the file name.
I think it's a PNG actually.
I
was also under the impression that it's a PNG.
I don't think you guys know what PNG stands for, but PNG actually stands for, person of, non-identifiable group. And that's what I fall under, People often, don't know what I am. And that's part of, carrying the weight of being mixed race. It's, being non-identifiable.
I mean, Ben, I think in conclusion, what everyone is saying is that we're looking to have a little bit more from this piece. Like, not saying that it's bad or that it's doing anything wrong, but I think like everyone is kind of like in agreement that I think, if you the thing with the hair and like with the clothes and like the more of the like duality of how you see yourself, like this piece would have come off like a lot more like what you wanted it to be,
Yeah, I agree. So, being gay is like probably the biggest part of my identity. And like, I think I see this and I'm like, that's me, like this is who I am. And
can you bring it a little closer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so his work really,
I do see it. Like I like a piece like this, like I could do that. Like I could do that in like 5 minutes, but like, and hardships that I've gone through to be able to make a piece like this.
and you say you're a gay man, but you're wearing a cross earring.
I'm a gay Christian.
I just know there's a lot of conflict. I can't speak from experience, but I just feel like that's conflicting.
Jesus was gay, and so like I try and follow in his footsteps, and that's why I chose to be gay. I think you get this piece, so I'm pretty sure you could probably do the whole fucking critique for me and speak for it on my behalf. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just think that, I don't know, just the little glimmer off the earring seems very intentional to me. Like, you may not say that, but I think like that was the most successful moment here, aside from the Scholastic Gold Key.
Right, and then it goes to this eye, bang, and it goes down here, and then it goes here, and then it goes here. So it's all about kind of keeping the viewer in the image, and then it will go right back, and so it's like that constant cycle. So I think it's kind of about visual balance. And it's like with the kind of there's the diagonal relationship right here between. I set up the light very specifically to catch the glimmer. Like in the movie Call Me by Your Name, blue is like the color of sadness, and I think it's kind of like the overwhelming sadness.
I thought blue was the color of water.
I mean, it's that too, but water is also sad, because people drown, and like I really don't think it's funny, you guys, like this is like really hard for me to do, and like I have anxiety, so when people are laughing at what I'm trying to say, like it really makes it hard for me to go on, and like I'm honestly kind of at my limit right now. In a sense, like I think that this is like a form of plagiarism, and I was actually able to find this exact image through Google reverse image search. So what do you have to say about that?
Oh my god.
That's pretty embarrassing, isn't it?
I knew it.
See, she's
Well, I mean, this
silent.
critique's over. We can't be critiquing a piece that's obviously.
No, I have this recorded. I have this recorded. I'm gonna send this to Okay, well, I got her IP, so I'm gonna call campus police on her.
Thank you.
Repurposed.
Yeah. So.
Is this from Pete?
No. It's from Trump. I'm per Pete.
Oh wait. Are we looking at the same image right now?
It's black and white with the things in it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
What are you having trouble seeing?
No. I'm pretty sure I'm seeing the exact same thing you're seeing. It's just that whatever you're talking about, as not whatever the fuck that is.
I think could I just get a show of hands? Like raise your hand if you can like see what I'm talking about. Okay. What do you guys see then, if you're not seeing what I'm seeing?
Like in Monsters Inc., where they put all the trash of the thing and it compacts it into like square cubes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
It looks like a crazy sponge.
Like foundation year 3D project, personally, it doesn't seem very sophisticated. Your craftsmanship is really lacking, I think.
It looks like something you make like when you're bored after dinner with like a napkin or something. Shit.
I don't think it's about being a USB. I think it's about like embodying what a USB is. It is storage. It is like compacting data. And I worked really hard to jam all those pieces in there. Like I had to put a lot of pressure on it, and I probably if that was someone's head, I probably could have like cracked their skull. But I channeled that into.
Sorry, did you say where you sourced this campaign poster from? What are you supporting inadvertently through this?
A Trump a Trump support a Trump supporter was selling them on eBay, and I didn't want them to be out on the streets, so I went and bought 1,000 of them so that they wouldn't be.
1,000, you said?
I got 1,000 of them so they wouldn't be out on people's lawns.
Don't you think the seller would just think the poster is very popular and reprint more with the money you're supplying them to reprint more?
Seems like this is a classic case of hate, feeling hate.
Who is your audience exactly for this work?
You guys.
Oh. Are you okay? Are you crying?
It's just like I put so much time and effort into this, and it's like you guys are just being so rude. Like I don't see any of you showing work except for her fucking Minion poster, and like it's just like like you guys want to you guys just want to talk shit, and like you don't even have anything to back it up, and it's just so annoying. Like I'm like really putting myself out here, and I'm just being met with so much hate. Like when I thought you guys of all people would get this. Like we're like you're my classmates. Like we're in this class together, and like I don't get why we're not supporting each other. Like how am I supposed to make better art when you guys are just calling me stupid the whole time?
I don't think anyone called you stupid.
Nobody said stupid.
I feel stupid. This and then like what's projected inside of it is like not really there. And so like I said this looks like VR because it looks like like kind of like this. Like it looks like this,
The real life in front of me is right now with the laptop.
Yeah, I have a laptop too.
I have a desktop, so I can't really relate to you guys.
Yeah, I really wanted this piece to be relatable to people, who have laptops. So it's a good observation.
I'm just thinking of maybe I have a laptop and some other people in the class have a laptop, but I know there's some people out there who don't have them, and the cultural elites that are in institutions. Yeah. If a real person saw this, would they be able to connect to this image if they didn't have a laptop?
When I see red, I think of two things, like hunger and sex, and that's what I think of.
See, but for someone like me who does how deal with color, like issues with with seeing color, I am technically colorblind. Maybe you should start thinking about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that like I said, my work isn't for everyone. It's for the people who like it.
And it's for people who aren't colorblind, most importantly.
Okay, that's really not necessary.
Work is not about colorblind.
Oh.
Anybody else have anything to say? I would love some feedback. Well, I didn't want it to come off as a glass, I wanted the abstraction to really lead this piece.
But I think we can all agree that looks like a glass. There's nothing really abstract about this,
Why do you say that?
The only abstract thing I think is your idea behind this piece, because it doesn't make any sense.
I think that's just because you're colorblind and you can't, really look at what is so important about this piece, which is the red. I didn't think any of your earlier pieces made any sense either, so.
Have you seen Call Me By Your Name?
Yeah, I have, and I didn't see a peach in any of your works, and that was a really important piece of that movie. If if anyone agrees with me.
I agree, totally.
I agree.
Peach is a really important motif in that movie, and I don't know what you've replaced it with when you took it out like that, and there's kind of a void there.
I think it's kind of implied that the peach was eaten.
These are my two Israeli cousins. They're quarantined together, and I did a photo shoot with them.
Interesting.
And they're related.
Yeah. Okay. They're both on my dad's side.
Oh. So they're siblings.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
That's why they have the masks on, huh?
Art is about what is happening now. And also I saw a painting by
Renee Magritte.
Yeah. And he has two people with like sheets over their heads kissing. So this is just like a fun reference to that. Thank you.
I definitely see the fun.
The what?
The fun.
Where do you see fun?
In the whole picture, you know.
Like you're not I don't want you to like look at this and be like, oh, they're siblings. Like they could be anyone. Like this is
I mean, they're acting like siblings
right now.
Like it's obvious that they're siblings, like now that you say it.
I mean, there's a lot of people who have like who are like dating someone that look like them.
Most of them are siblings.
Oh.
I see this clashing of femininity and masculinity in this work. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, well, I think that like right now we're really living in like the era of like the girl boss where it's important for a woman to be a boss. So usually pink is the girl color and blue is the boy color, but I wanted to like really challenge gender roles by making the light on the boy pink and the light on the girl blue. Like I want my art to be like crazy like that. I think that's important. I actually think that maybe your photograph where it looks like there's wind and like motion.
Yeah.
Like maybe you should make their hairs move if you could. Like that's like advice for you.
Well, my reference photo, there wasn't that, you know, and it's like I don't want to like, you know, like make the movie something it's not and, you know, lie to people because I don't like lying. And I think it's wrong. And it's like, I hope you're not lying, you know, like with this piece, you know, like that they're not actually, you know, your cousins.
It's not lying, it's daring to be different.
You know, I just think that, you know, like there's like I'm already doing a lot by, you know, putting out the kind of paintings I am. And, you know, like, I think to like lie and like make something that, you know, is fake, it's just wrong. And so I don't get why, you know, like it's always coming back to me and how bad I am as an artist. When it's like I've had nothing but nice to you about this piece.
And I appreciate that.
And it's like just because your piece is good doesn't mean you should tell me what to do.
Would anyone else would anyone else like to say anything about this piece?
Do you have any photos of this, like, you know, like other shots so we could get like a better idea of like the set as a whole, you know, so we can kind of confirm?
I actually don't have any other pictures of this one. I like to only take one photo of an entire thing and then delete all the other photos because that's just a really important part of my practice. Ever since I ran out of storage on my camera. So I don't really like have any other photos, and I think that also just speaks to like the urgency of the piece as a whole.
Well, I think, you know, like going back to my, you know, piece about like data storage, like I think it's kind of like irresponsible of you to just, you know, throw stuff away, you know, like you could have recycled those images and like, you know, use them for something else, but instead, you know, like you threw them away and like now no one can use them, no one can do anything with them, you know, so it's kind of like a waste of resources and the time that we're really struggling with, you know, managing resources.
I mean, it's just files, so I can like drag them to the recycling bin on my desktop. So I don't think it's actually like trash.
Okay, you use a recycling bin on the trash bin.
I mean, it's 2020. We have to use recycling bins.
But did you drag it to the recycling bin or the trash bin? Because that's the difference between, you know, this being a waste and this being, you know, repurposed. Because the files that go in your trash bin go in the trash and they're not used for anything. But the files that go in your recycle bin.
If you really think about it, you're clearing up space, which make other space for more photos. So it's like a regenerative process.
Okay, but like
it's like generating. I'm just generating.
It shows how much confidence the artist has for their work.
But like, but that's like saying like, oh, like let's kill old people so we have more space for babies. Like, how does that make any sense? Could you please just not do that? Like, we're trying to have a conversation here.
Disrespectful.
What?
You already had your turn. Like, it's so rude.
Are you guys talking to me?
Yes, we're talking to you.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, okay? It's not like I'm not here.
We're talking about life and death of old people.
Yeah.
Sorry, like, I guess I don't care about old people.
Clearly.
Like, they look like influencers. Like, this looks like a promotional thing for their merch.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I should have. I mean, these are just my cousins, so I don't know where they've been. I was just like, hey, can you guys come over so I can take a picture of you guys kissing in masks?
So you're not social distancing. You literally invited your cousins over.
You're putting yourself and everyone that you interact with in danger.
Like, I think it's really like ironic that you're, promoting, like social distancing and being safe.
I mean, I think that by spreading this image, I'm doing more. Like, I feel like I'm making up for that harm. Like, the more people that see this, the more they're like, wow, I can relate to, like, social distancing.
I mean, I can't relate to this piece because I'm gay. Like, why didn't you think of, including two men instead of, this?
Yeah, it feels kind of homophobic.
They're just, like, siblings and they don't have any other siblings. Like, if it was, like, two girl cousins, they would also be kissing or, like, brushing each other's hair or something, but this is, like, these are just the cousins that I have.
Maybe it's on you to get more diverse cousins. I feel like we all have a personal responsibility to just, like, these causes in general, to, like, surround ourselves with as much diverse people as possible. Like,
see, that is a trash can. It's not even recycling. Like honestly, I really like this, like, at first, but now it just feels like you're lying about everything. So, like, I really don't know, like.
What I think happened is that you liked it and then you heard everyone else's opinion and you changed your opinions to theirs. You so readily admit to networking, but you won't be sympathetic to influencers. And I think that's something you have to think about and you have to address.
Maybe I do. I admit that, but I can admit things and you can't. And that's the difference between me and that's the difference between you. I can own up to my, shortcomings, but you're constantly, like, coming up with excuses. And I think it's, like, this is a place for us to be honest, like, we're all, like, juniors and we're all in this together. And it's like, I don't get why, we can't work as a team, and, like, why,
I mean, I was trying to be vulnerable when I told you guys that they were siblings, so.
I mean, you seem really open with that. That's the first thing you said. You're just like, here, they're cousins. They're siblings. Like,
I'm done. Does anyone else have work they want to share?
No, I have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the class is over. I'm gonna be sending this to Professor. And so, like, I hope you're all, like, proud of the way that you acted. I'm certainly not. I thought this was just, like, a mess. Like, this is what happens when, I try and organize something and, you guys just don't respect me because I'm not the professor, and I think it's really just gross. Like, this is why, young artists aren't getting anywhere nowadays. You're all just on Instagram all the time, fucking swiping right on Tinder.